Co tu cicho, bo już jesteśmy na żywo.
Ale że to, że mlaszcza, czy że...
Tylko cię informuję. Hello, hello. I'm just checking if everything is fine and you can hear me and you can see me. Oh, strange colors. I'm a bit yellow here, which is not true. Okay. I think we are fine. We should be starting in about 5-10 minutes to give everybody the chance to join. So this is the moment when you can grab something to drink, organize, sit comfortable. Here's my script. So I won't forget about anything important because it's a lot of things to talk about. w swoim telefonie przełącz się na telefonowy, dobra?
Mhm.
Hello everybody. I just hope the second phone is not going to die on me because I use it for the chat so I can see what you are saying. But let's hope everything is going to be just fine. I think we're going to start in a moment, so let me just... Hello. Ah, trying to put it in their place. Maybe a little bit closer so I can see. When you are short-sighted, makes a lot of difference where you are. Pepcioszku, przepraszam. Pepcioszku, sio. Musisz się przesunąć. Hello, hello. Hopefully the basket now. Now. That's better. We have to take a lot of things from the floor up because the little puppy prefers to play with the things which are not always toys, so we take away the temptation, for example, the basket. So hello everybody, and after a short break we are back to creativity whispering classes, which are a little bit different to usual project focused classes. And for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. And I can see one of you is having a problem getting in, so I will leave you for a moment, okay? I just got that message and I will just do a little bit of the rescue, okay? Looks like somebody is lost. No worries. 2 minutes, please. Please open, open, open. slowest connection ever now. Okay, I did whatever I could to help. Ludzie nie zaczną czytać, co się do nich pisze po angielsku, chociaż znam się języcznie, to ja się zapłaczę po prostu. Sorry, I had to help. A new person got lost a little bit. I think she was expecting the link is going to show up in the same post as before. And in the meantime, we got more people. So thank you so much for coming to the Creativity Whispering Part 2. And after the break, hopefully this is going to be interesting chat for you. And as usually in this kind of video, we are not going to make a project, but we are going to discuss a lot of creative topics. And we are going to get some homework. And this time I wanted to encourage you to take part in the homework. We have 1 month to complete. And there are 2 options. They are listed on the last page of the script, and I will repeat everything as well. And just need to think on what to show you for that homework. And we are going to look at some projects, but mostly we are going to talk about the concept. So you're going to see a lot of my face today, but I have some books and I have some of my projects here as examples prepared, including that one. So hopefully this is going to be something refreshing and encouraging, and for some of you assuring as well. I think some of the creators, people who are artists or crafters, or they just create for pleasure, they may be any kind of creative person, they have a lot of, I would say, doubts and fears when it comes to creative process. And that is this, whatever we are going to discuss today, it really applies to any kind of creativity, no matter if you're doing some creative writing, or it is filmmaking, or it is art as it is, so the fine arts or mixed media, because it's about the general concept of art, music as well. So if you would like to make some notes and follow the ideas I'm going to discuss, I made a PDF, wonky PDF script. And on the last page there will be also homework information and a lot of other in short topics that may be useful to follow everything. So first of all, if you were watching the previous episode, it was Creativity Whispering 1, and we were talking about creative mindfulness. This topic is connected with that, of course, because we are still in the same area of waking up the creativity and finding the way to be creative and being conscious about the creative process. Um, Here we're going to jump from focusing on finding creative element that is going to uh, make us going and going for looking for this creative flow and this moment of this buzz that happens in our body when we want to create something, to more general concept of um, looking for the personal way of expressing yourself, about looking for the style and general way how creativity works and how we get inspired by not just whatever is around, but by others, by the work of others. And there's a little bit of the sensitive topics here, and it's good to have it all nicely organized in your head, so you're not going to uh, fall in any of the pitfalls that may happen during the creative process, and you're not going to lose too much energy on arguments and how to say if this is original work or this is not original work, and all that, which is usually a huge topic around any kind of creativity. So as I told you in the last episode, usually the best way to find the things which are going to define your style and they're going to push you to creativity is to follow your natural curiosity. We all have that as humans. We are curious about things. We like to, you know, examine different things that happen. We like to look into different processes. We kind of have this natural ability to wonder what is going to happen if, and that is pushing us towards uh, usually development, but sometimes towards the big hole in the ground, and that's also the kind of learning curve. But curiosity is a natural thing for most of the living beings. You can see it in animals, you can see it in basically anything that is having some kind of activity. So this is natural, and we are able to use that curiosity to make development and to create some kind of content that is going to make us happy and hopefully inspire others. And I usually, when I explain these things, I try to say that if we follow the curiosity, we are going to gather some of the skills and some of the elements which they are sooner or later going to be part of our personal style. And I usually refer to that as our vocabulary and our grammar. So this is like having developing a language. So the vocabulary will be things such as tools that we like to use, or these will be favorite objects we like to work with, or these will be the color palettes we really like to use, and they're like elements of the project. They're okay. There are many things that okay. The person is still lost. I'm not sure if I can help at this point. So next time. So these are going to be the elements which are kind of natural to you, and you gather them, bit by bit, because they spark your curiosity, and that is this process we were discussing before, like this spark that happens, and we pick up something, we look at it, and we put it in our mental basket, or our visual basket if we have it anyway. And sooner or later, we have quite a big basket of our vocabulary. And then, on the other hand, there is this grammar, which is usually the rules that are telling the people how to operate with the words to create a language. So for us, the grammar is the natural way how we put the things together. This way how we organize the colors and textures or the elements together. So all that, if you put this vocabulary and grammar together, is going to create the sense of our personal style. And some people think it's just going to happen, you know, one day they're going to wake up and they're going to know exactly what they want to do. Like, they will say like, okay, I know today I'm going to paint only with blue tones, not using any black at all, and my topic will be only angels, sunshine, and something else. Like, it is not how it happens. Usually, it happens somehow in between the lines when we work. So we have to work a lot. We have to focus on working without thinking about the personal style really, and then it emerges and it naturally comes out of our work. And usually it may be even this way that your friends or your clients will tell you, yeah, you have such a unique style. Once you will still think that you are muddy and you are not really having anything special about your work. And you are wrong. So there's this kind of confidence you have to get and believe it is going to happen. Don't expect it's going to be like one day you have it, right? We all, and it's going to develop as well, it's going to change. So this is going to be, interesting to see the floats, because there's like a range you're going to be in. On one day, for some time you may be closer to that side, and then it's going to be the others, and this is something that you just have to accept. If you're going to look at the life of the famous artists, for example, musicians or painters, you're going to see the artwork they were creating was changing over time. The music was changing and evolving, and we usually find we only know some quite small part of this artwork, which we recognize to be the most popular, but there is so much more waiting. The same with the painters. Some of the painters have like the best time of their life, which is considered to be the most fruitful and the most pure style, and something with the most iconic for them. And then for some of them, it's going to be very short time, and for some of them, it's going to be very long time. And some artists will develop the style very late in their lives, and some artists will be getting to their style very quickly, and then they will lose completely that unique thing that they had. So please don't worry and just follow the stream today. So you're going to have a lot of things to think about. So our main focus is going to be how to create original work, and how to say if the project that we are doing is a copy of somebody or something, or is it us, and how to prepare yourself to create in a smart way so you have all the tools in your basket. So what do you need and how to work? So in general, we're going to follow the idea of that every artist is teeth. And that concept came, I don't know how many years ago, but it was popularized by Austin Kleon, and he's a creative writer. He is not an artist at all. And he made a book, and the title of the book is Still Like an Artist. And he put all these truths together in a very smart way, and he described the whole process very naturally and in a kind of light-hearted way, so you can start to feel like, okay, everything is fine, you've got this, because nothing in artwork is truly original. And that is absolutely true. And people, um, they look for originality, but they forget that you can't be really completely original because there is so much of the influence around you already. It's not possible to avoid it. And I don't. I didn't read the book, and I just know the main topics of it, and I heard his TEDx talk and everything. But and on this short TEDx talk, I based what we are going to talk today a little bit. But the concept is absolutely great, and it is absolutely true as well. And generally, as a creative person, it's good if you can accept that knowledge, this idea that nothing is truly original. So, how does it work? When you are a creative person, sooner or later during this gathering process, when you start to collect your inspirations, your ideas, you're like a sponge. You get influenced by different things which surround you, and art is everywhere around us. We read about art, we look at other people's art, we are interested in art, so we develop our skills just by looking at others as well. And kind of natural thing is these things just they plant the seeds in our brain. If you do it consciously or subconsciously, it does happen, and it is not possible to avoid it. There's no way. And sooner or later, you're going to see that these seeds that were planted in your head, they're going to stay there, and they're going to transform your work into something else. That may be just a short period of time when you are doing something by being influenced by somebody's artwork. That may be any kind of artwork, novels, music, visual arts, whatever. And some of these artworks will be so imprinted in your brain that it will be very hard to get away from them, because they will be so much so much in your taste that it's going to be just impossible. And what the best thing about it is, you shouldn't really try, because there are some important things that are going to help you to use it for your advantage. And first of all, if you're going to look at the first part of the script, every artwork is a mashup of the previous art. Just imagine if you were an architect and you were supposed to make the plans for the new beautiful church, and your boss, whoever is giving you that contract, they want to have the most amazing and beautiful church ever built. But so far, you were going to so many churches. You've seen Gothic churches, you've seen Roman churches, you've seen Baroque churches, you've seen so much of it, and some of them have such a huge influence on you already that in your work, you are not able to stay away from that inspiration. Your plan, your drawing is going to be based on what is somewhere in your head. And that is the natural thing. But according to Austin Kleon says, remember also that your brain, your personality, you as you're a unique person, and the way you interpret the things is also unique. So if you are smart, and if you're able to control the process, then your artwork is going to be original. So how it works? First of all, first important thing, you should learn from more than one person. So you should find various sources of inspiration so they can blend and merge in your brain, give them time to work together, and then out of that something new is going to show up. It's not going to be simple process. It takes a little bit of time, but then it turns out. There's this example I just wrote in the circle. 1 + 1 is 3. And this is taken directly from Austin Kleon. He said, you know, the result, but the sum is greater than the parts because of our unique personality, because our ability to be creative. We take ingredients, but because we don't follow the recipe, we create something greater and bigger, completely unique than the just ingredients themselves. So if you take one artwork and the second artwork, you put it together, you don't get like a mongrel out of two dogs. You get third hardcore artwork, which is possibly going to be greater than these two before. So this is important thing, and this is something that you can use for your advantage and to take that relief, you know, really take the pressure off your body that maybe you are too focused on somebody else's style and forgetting about yours. So the next important thing is, we're going to talk about it, you should remember when you create the artwork and you are inspired by something, you should make it better. So it is not just recreating, but this is making that more you, more beautiful in your opinion, more interesting, more exciting. Okay? And finally, and this is wonderful text told by David Bowie, you have to be a tasteful thief, which means you have to pick carefully the sources of your inspiration and really pick the best ones to avoid the things which are like, you know, no taste, kind of bland without any special kick in it. No, you just focus on the ones that have the most flavor and the best ones you use for as your source of inspiration. I hope that makes sense so far, and I know this is maybe a bit complex concept, but if you're going to break it into little pieces, what we're going to do now, you're going to see how easily it works. So first of all, I just see if you have any questions. Yeah, that I think if you think about that process, it is really logical. There was great example also in the same TEDx talk about the musician. I think that was, I don't remember. It was, I think, Tchaikovsky. No, it's Stradivarius. I don't remember. But he was accused that he took the most iconic classical pieces of music and he used them as inspiration to create his own new ballet or opera, something really big. But he said, yes, but I changed it, I recycled it, I made it my way. And the critics said, but this is, this is not original. He said, well, you respect the classics and I loved it, and I love it. So in a way, because you process the inspiration through your personal love for it, it's going to flourish and change in something else. So I have some examples as well of what I did with somebody else's work, and hopefully it's going to help you to understand how the process works. So let's look at the first topic, and this was the more sources, the more original result. And Carmen says she's got two people that inspire her a lot, and this is a great start. This is not really like one person only, and you have somebody you like to look at, so this is great. And the more sources, the more original result. So it kind of works this way. Of course, we try to keep it on the sensitive, number. Like we don't have like 200 because it's going to be hard to process. But let's say we have a group of people that we think create very cool art. We like looking at it, that makes us happy, and there may be different ways how it makes us happy. And we don't copy what they do. We kind of recycle it, which means we take a little bit from each person and then we put it directly into our brain. And this is what I wrote here. Trust your brain, shut Pinterest. You just stop staring at it. You let your brain process. So I would just give you an example how it works with me. I have a Pinterest board. It's called Inspiration. And I have some projects in there. But I check them maybe once in a year, maybe. And it is just to refresh, to see some of the things in one place, because I let my brain process the idea. So if I find a project that I really like, or the idea or color palette, I will look at them for some time, and I will think. I will just, let's say I'm looking at this project behind me, right? Okay, this big one. This is, let's say, somebody else's project, and I look like, I like it. And then I start to think, what do I like the most? Is it about the color, or is it about the light and shadow? I try to analyze the things that I can see here, and I try to see which element has the biggest impact on me. And I try to remember that feeling, and I try to remember what really drew my attention to it. Maybe the textures, and I let that sink in for some time. And maybe after a day or two, I will come back to it and look again to see what I think. And then when I decide I'm ready to create project inspired by that, I will start without looking at it again, because during that time, my brain is going to work on it by itself. It's going to change it. It's going to pick just the most flavorful elements out of that. And the ones that I remember the most are apparently those that I really love the most. And I'm going to incorporate them in the work. And then only when I'm really stuck and I will know, like, there was something, but I can't bring it back, then I will maybe check again on the image, like what that was. Okay, here is a heart. I don't want a heart, I want something else, but I like the concept. There is something in that center here. And this is how I use my Pinterest board if I have to. I really rarely do it. So when you know you have enough of your thing in it instead of much. Yes, Sus, I will answer that a little bit later. That's going to be the next point. Okay? So I put information like here, let it brew. So give yourself the time to process. Hello, everybody. Give yourself the time to process. And this is not like, I see it and I do it right away, because this is not copy paste, right? If you want to make sure your personal factor is going to be included, I would give a little bit of this brewing time. So the idea will sit in your brain, and very likely this idea is going to stick to some other idea. Maybe you're going to merge it with another project you have in your head, or maybe you are going to merge it with the color palette that you have somewhere on your mind, but this is not going to be right away. Okay? So this way you help your creativity to work on it, so you don't really do right away without thinking, because if you do it right away, most likely you're going to be as close to the original as possible, because you will be so heavily influenced. I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's see. Yeah, using inspiration from new techniques from others, but using your own aesthetics. Exactly. And Debbie says, I always criticize myself that my work is never as free as yours. It's too tight. Now I get why. I can do your stuff, but in my own way, and that needs to be okay. Penny has dropped. Yeah. This is important thing. If you really want to avoid a copy, or even by accident, you have to give yourself the time to process it, because you are not a copy machine, and you don't want to be it as well. You want to find your personal way of doing things. So if you find something absolutely beautiful, let that beauty sink into you and let it sit for hours. Some people will have it for days, depending on how you work and how your body will process that. And that is going to be the good way of finding inspiration and a conscious way to work with that inspiration. Um, then there's important message on in the same section of the script. Accept that you are a collector. And that means, of course, I'm a collector because I gather things, physical things that bring inspiration to me. So I collect elements because I do dimensional collage. If I wasn't a dimensional collage person, I would just buy paint, right? But no. But you're a collector of artworks. You are a collector of impressions, and you are a collector of these little things that are going to stick together in your head. And out of that, there's going to be new artwork emerging and coming. So that is going to be the natural way of avoiding the copy. And you will know that you are closer to developing your own style as well, because you are going to have this time to prepare the artwork to come out of your brain on the project. I hope it makes sense. Yeah, so and the last topic here on this part, before I'm going to show you some examples, is that yeah, the room is a flea market. The same here, or even worse, it's a car boot junk sale. But diversify your sources, and that means try to get different sources of inspiration, not just from different artists, but also from different genres. So I would mix things which are visual arts, which are maybe poetry, movies, music. So in a way, you are feeding your brain different kind of inspiration. Some people are very sensitive to nature and they love looking at landscapes or details of flowers or any kind of natural beauty, right? So that is a very valuable source of inspiration as well, because you can find a lot of wonderful shapes, textures, sizes in the nature. Some people love modern art, and they also love, for example, modern technology, and they're going to have another interest as well. So they're going to be, for example, interested in cars or making some robots or machines, electronical things, and that may influence their art because this is what they look at all the time in the spare time. They may be artists, but at the same time, they will be so interested in something else, and that is sticking to their brain. Exactly, like Asha said, she is collector of stories, and that happens to me as well. I absolutely love stories, and and you can use that as the great source of your inspiration, because the way you are going to process that data that is entering your brain from all the possible directions is uniquely you, and only you are able to produce this artwork. There was this great example again. I will, again, spoiler alert, if you're going to watch the TEDx talk by Austin Kleon. There's like a story of, when you have a child, and of course every child is a mixture of genes coming from mother and father, but it's a unique person. And the same happens here. Every artwork is like this child that has the genes from different sources, but it's absolutely unique new thing that is happening because of you. Okay? And in the next stage, we're going to talk about how to make it better, how to make it ours. So how to get to that saturation of uniqueness we were talking about a little bit more, and how to be this tasteful teeth. So we are going to develop a little bit more on what kind of things we can do to help. But First of all, in the meantime, I would like to show you how inspiration worked for me for some of the projects. And I was looking hard at home if I can find any good examples how I'm inspired by different artists. So hopefully you're going to see a bit of similarity in my artwork to the works of some classics, more not classical, fine artists, not really mixed media artists, but fine artists. I don't have any mixed media examples at home that I could show you, but I'm going to give you some examples. I was trying to find the best examples of what I like, and I found 5 art albums, and I will show you how they connect, at least in my brain, how they connect with the things I do. Okay? So maybe let's start. I will just show you the artist and then a project that I think is going to represent this kind of style in a way. And then you're going to see how this may translate. So that is this fun part when I'm showing you some examples. So I will flip the camera. And this is going to hopefully help. I love art, but not to the extent that I would be sitting for hours looking at the paintings. No, I do it from time to time. And this is kind of the natural way that it works for me, that I simply remember them too well. And then I don't want myself to get oversaturated. This is what I do. Yeah, we don't. Okay, I told you that I really I didn't have enough space at my home, so that's why now I live in a garage with my studio. Okay, so most of us, okay, I think I have for this one I have a great example. Klimt, Gustav Klimt, he was best known for this kind of style. So he's very golden, very textured paintings, usually huge in size as well. And of course, this kind of paintings, they were great source for the inspiration when it comes to create textures and quite limited color palettes. But in fact, his other projects are absolutely like different as well. Like he's got a lot of different results in his art. For example, these girls. It's absolutely different. So I will just show you the ones that I would say they're the closest that is to what I see. Like when I look at his projects, the one that I marked here for you, I see his projects are almost flat. My projects are dimensional, but they are great repetitive patterns that you can use in the backgrounds of your work. And I honestly have to say I made 2 projects directly inspired by Klimt. And this is one of the inspiring paintings, this one. I love the way it was this armchair she's sitting on looks absolutely surrealistic, and how the window behind her head looks like this kind of almost like a tiara. And of course the textures he was creating, they were absolutely something I loved. So that was something that very easily translated to what I like in the style. Here, something which is not so gold, but still with this wonderful, amazing design on the clothing and on the background. And that translated very easily to the page I was showing you before. This is the journal page I made, and it was supposed to be inspired by Klimt. It's very shiny, so I kind of overdid the colors here, but they are very much in this style. And I repeated the windows, which are kind of repeating in his projects quite often in the background. And of course, I made this abundance of different textures as much as I could using different materials. Of course, they are not flat, they are dimensional, but I wanted to see what happens when you are going to go that far with color and that far with texture. And that was great experience to try. And this was something that was an experiment I really wanted to try. So these windows, they are very, very much like the window this lady had behind her head. Where is she? She was here. Yeah, the same shape. Kind of the same shape. And then the textures that I was trying to show in my project, there are those swirly textures he's got in so many parts of the artwork. So I was trying to find something that is going to look slightly similar. And there's one more detail I want to show you. Can you see this? This is like a little strip, probably the floor and the wall, and then this decorative strip. I even made this strip here because I liked this effect so much. So I used washi tape to create that effect. Something which was an experiment, but honestly, I love this painting as well. He's very, very talented artist, and I was playing with these ideas to see what happens, and I learned so much from it. And I know I would love to do this kind of artwork in the future. You have to ignore the noise. This is my dog. And now let's look at the second one inspired by Klimt. Not this one. This one. Hopefully you can see as well. Sorry, all these things here, they have swirly details, right? Shh! Kajtek, bardzo cię proszę. Sorry, we have some history. There are those swirly details which are typically present in the Klimt's work. So I was trying to create this kind of like wild bushes effect, yet they are very flat comparing to what I can do on usual projects I do. And then the body of the person, it has so much detail created with the lace. Again, trying to show all these patterns that I've seen on the Klimt's work. And that is much more processed project. So it is far, far like descendant of the Klimt's artwork. However, if you look at the details of the clothing of these people, how much is happening on there, the golden accents, and the colors of some of his paintings as well, which are not always gold, as some people think. They're quite often in other color palettes. This is heavily Klimt-inspired collage. And I did it like half consciously, but when I started working on it, I realized that in fact there's a lot of Klimt in it, and I just accept it and I don't fight with it because I admire his work. Like, this is, I would say, similar color palette. Of course, different. He's mostly using the stronger colors and people are inside. This is outside. But the combination of the amazing art you can find on the dresses of the people is absolutely different. But this is still Klimt. And this is Klimt by, himself with the cat, just saying, just in case. So kind of see the similarity in the dress. And he was very well known because he was also doing a lot of designs of the fabric as well. And his friend, she was a very talented fashion artist. So a lot of the things you can see on the paintings, they were actual dresses designed either by her or by him, or to just things done together. It's really interesting how that works, and how his art was included in the real life. So this was inspiration number one, very close and very far. And this is, I would say, after a lot of brewing in my brain, this came out, while the first one is straight taken challenge. I was supposed to show a work that was inspired by an artist, like, or the painting that I like. And that's why it was so close. So you can see what happens right away and what happens after a longer time of thinking about a certain example. Second example I want to show you, these are things that are not so obvious, and most of people don't even know they exist in my work because it's more about topics. Rossetti, Waterhouse, Pre-Raphaelites. I love paintings of the kind of romantic feminine figures with a lot of mystery inspired by the historical or people from different stories, like wonderful paintings of ladies from a Tennyson poem, for example, The Lady of Shalott, which I absolutely love. These are one of the few paintings I saved on my computer years ago when the Pinterest was not even existing yet. And the colors, but also the way everything is constructed, this drama that happens in the paintings here, all that wonderful dark and shadow, and the story that is in there, that is something that I absolutely love. And in a way, in some of my collage projects, I try to keep the same atmosphere in a way. It's very distant, you probably can't see it, but I know it is there because this is something that I personally love. So all these paintings, they inspired me a lot, and I still love this kind of style. It is very mysterious. There's also one painter I don't have at home, but would be representing kind of similar style, very symbolic, very much focused on things which are like visual stories. And this is Polish painter called Jacek Malczewski, and his symbolic paintings are absolutely beautiful. I don't have Dutch but at home, but if you would like to see his paintings, you will see what I mean. Very much based on the same concept, that the person there is like personification of something. So many of them will be people from mythology or from the famous stories, or they're representing concepts like truth, death, victory, and all these things that are so close to my aesthetics as well. So a lot of the projects I do, they're also representations of some kind of concept, and that's why these are kind of very much my cup of tea. Yes, they are kind of like church paintings. That is very true. Exactly. Okay, if you think about church paintings, let's say we've got this kind of style, right? And you can try to look at the colors, like the how the light and the shadow is working, how much of the different embellishments you could incorporate into work, how people are shown, what kind of details they have. Like, for example, here we've got somebody's holding a flower, like a lily or rose. There are details, like there are stars in her hair. There are some textures beautiful on the clothing. You can try to incorporate these things into your art, and that is going to help, because these are going to be those little things you pick up and you add to your project. And you don't have to use the whole image as it is. You can just pick and choose whatever works for you, if that makes sense. So let's have a look if I have anything here that would be similar to that. To that, not really, but almost. Almost. This is, of course, a lot of drama, but you can see that would be. This could be taken straight from Jacek Malczewski's painting, like some kind of death or something like that. A lot of dramatic feeling, very, visual person, striking look, and a lot of dark and shadow, a lot of drama. So for me, these paintings I was showing you in that book, they have this huge impact because of the story behind. Like these women, they have stories to tell. They are not just sitting there looking pretty. You can say in their faces, there are things going on. They have a story. They want to express something. There is something going on. And in a way, that makes sense. Yeah, the color palette is something that you can absolutely look at this painting. This beautiful red hair and these greens and golds. Like this is a ready to go color palette you can use on your project. And of course, with the golds, you can go with the extra textures. You can do it with some wax or some kind of metallic paint. So this is going to look even more like a painting taken from the church or icon taken from the Greek Catholic Church. So you can think about what are the most exciting things in this artwork you like, what is really drawing your attention, and try to use that concept in first project, then to see to the second project, to see what is changing in there and how you can use it for your advantage. Okay? But mixed media for 6 months, it doesn't mean that you don't know what you like. You look at the things and, you can just start thinking, what is your favorite thing? Let's put this one on the wall. So we have 2 done. And now something a little bit more fun. I want to show you that because, again, you may see some of the similarities, but this is, again, Polish artist, Sentowski. You probably would see these ladies they have some similarities to what I'm doing in my collage portraits. So I will show you some of the examples. And I think there is a lot of artwork that you can relate that to. The one that I never finished. So the one that I wanted to do about inspired by Mont Saint-Michel would be completely this cup of tea. He's a surrealistic painter, and maybe I will put something. Oh, so now there's no glare. You can see that his world is very much fairy tale-like, but look at the way how he's constructing some of his characters. There are a mixture between people and buildings, for example. So something that absolutely stole my heart from the very beginning. There are also a lot of moons in his artwork, and you will see some of these are absolutely mind-blowing. So I would absolutely love to do that in the future. Look at these two cities, and there is even a boat between. They look like king and queen, and there's huge, beautiful boat, like a ship between. And then those guy, this guy in the front, who knows what he's doing anyway. So, and this is just when I saw that for the first time in a magazine, I knew I want to know more. And I didn't have my style at that time. This is from like 2003, 2004. So I didn't do any mixed media at that time yet. Yeah, see, but it doesn't have to be something that is mixed media connected. It's just something that, speaks to you, that your heart is happy to see. So, and this is how the style is developed. If you like these kind of things, very likely you may want to include that into your artwork in the future. But also look, the same topic is repeating quite often for the same artist. And these people, like the city people, they're going to repeat in his paintings a lot. So this is interesting to see. Look at those people here. Again, not exactly city, but then architecture and kind of mysterious characters at the same time. Yeah, that is something that I think is very inspiring. And here is the idea that inspired me to use in one of my projects. There was, you can see this rabbit is changing into dice. And I used that idea when I was doing this background for my green collage, when there was like the fragments of the reality. They were just going, to the sides. Very much the same concept happening here. And I absolutely love how these two magicians are, having like a duel to see who's the better magician. And then, again, more of the city people. And then something I absolutely love, lady with the cage dress. So there are birds in her dress inside. So these are lovely images, very fairy tale-like, very mysterious. And this kind of image I would probably do like myself 1 or 2 times already, just because I loved it so much. More of the city people. And then finally, the one that was on the cover, probably the most new at that time. So really, really cool collage look without doing collage anyway. That artist is Polish guy called Jacek Sentowski? Tomasz Sentowski. He's from Poland. And he also started doing sculpture. I have to show you that because he's got his own little museum. And apparently he made some of these into sculptures as well. So they were turned into sculptures as well. I absolutely love here this Don Quixote on the bike instead of the horse. Yes, I know Dixit, and I absolutely love the images in Dixit because they are exactly like that. They're very dreamy. So this is kind of the thing that inspires me a lot. So now something that will be very visually easy to see in my artwork. So 2 artists which are very, well, I'm not sure if you know the first one. Some people do, some people don't. I just have to hide one part of the page because this is not appropriate for all the audiences. I have to hide that because it is not too pretty. Well, not too pretty is well, yeah, I have to be careful. I don't want to be said that I use. I'm showing you so you can't sleep at night. This one, if you want to Google that guy, do it on your own risk, because a lot of his art is really hard to accept for people. There's a lot of things which will be disturbing, a bit of the kind of industrial pornography. So, but what I love about that is the style he has for creating textures. So this one, handle with care, I'm just saying. This is H.R. Giger, and he's got quite impressive artwork, and he's got his own Giger museum. And this one I discovered years ago, and I fell in love in this, how he's painting all these textures, which are something between biological and mechanical. And we call it in Polish, it's biomechanika, so biomechanics. And he is also the designer of the first alien from Alien movie. What was the name of Alien? Xenomorph? The first xenomorph from the Alien movie. So you know, if this ugliness is not your cup of tea, you know you should not look at that artist at all. But his imaginary is very striking. And I can think that you can see some of these effects in my artwork as well. Exactly. Yes, Caroline is right. Look at the dark and the shadow here. Ignore the dead bodies. Look at how he's painting all these mysterious textures, something which is both alive and electronical or mechanical, something which is alien, but at the same time, all these structures, they look like they have they look like they are structured, but they are in fact just paintings. So what I am doing in my artwork, I'm kind of creating similar look to the backgrounds that he made, but using dimensional elements. So this is something which is, I say, this is disturbing art, not for everybody to watch, but I appreciate his sense of the style when it comes to creating those very alien, very strange, very mysterious effects in his paintings. So that is something that is typically Giger's artwork. I promise not to show you too much, so you're not going to have too much of the bad dreams. This is the bottom I have to cover. H.R. Giger. I will show you. And please, Star Trek Next Generation connected to the Borg. Yeah. So look at the one on the top here. That is exactly kind of the pattern that I like to have in my own projects. Don't run as well. So, oh, Terry, you don't want to see what is on the hidden photo. Believe me, this is absolutely not pleasant view. And if you want to Google his art, do it on your own risk. I told you this is not. Yeah, that was called Landscape number 20. I don't want to. Yeah, it's terrible. No, it's not terrible. It's strange art. Don't ask me. He was a strange personality. So that is how I developed my love for the unusual backgrounds. That is more terrifying than this picture with children. I'm not saying this is terrifying, Asha. I'm saying this is not for all the audiences. It's pure pornography. I don't want you to think that I'm showing you pornography during the live streams. And this is something that not all the people would like to see. That's what I'm hiding. Okay? So you can see that. Right? And let's look at the result. Right? For example, something that would be absolutely trying to create the same kind of the effect. Of course, the colors are similar, grays, something that is creating this feeling of depth that I could see in his paintings. Something a little bit disturbing as well, because there is this school, of course. But for me, the most intriguing part of his art are those backgrounds, the ways that he is painting all these details, artistic, mechanical, electronical things. So that is what I take from his art. I'm not a huge fan of his pornography. I'm not a huge fan of his dead bodies or these creepy children, but I absolutely love how he is showing those mysterious, deep, mechanical constructions, which are so like taken from the dark future. And that's how I would see this inspiration works for me. Okay. The other one that you were talking about is, of course, the creepy girl, the creepy doll. You remember the creepy doll as well. Kajtek, zabierz się stąd. Creepy doll. I think you can see the inspiration after I showed you the paintings easily. So this is one, kind of the same story. Textures, doll, some kind of really interesting mechanical background happening. So I try to create the feeling like this is like one working mechanism, right? So again, this is not art for everybody. I love the way it works. I love the feeling. I love the mystery. I love this atmosphere, a little bit of futuristic, a little bit post-apocalyptic. It is something else, not for everybody, but it is for me. And the work with the light and the shadow, that the one I was showing you on this, one of the first paintings, when there was this face of the lady, and then in the background, almost in the darkness, and living creatures, that is here. So the part is very light, the other parts are very, very dark. And this is one of the things I got from his art. And this is how the inspiration works. Yeah, so that is Giger. Quite close inspiration, of course. And a little bit more distant inspiration is here. Still very dimensional, but again, a lot of mechanisms and a lot of details. And again, the dark and the shadow. This is more towards my natural style that I developed. So this is on the break of different styles already, but it still has a lot of that feeling, those drips as well. They come from that concept. And they are connecting because this is, who I am. I'm showing you where these things came from. And they came from very different sources, as you can see. And this is, again, this concept is taken straight from Giger as well, because the effect of the shadow and the light directly taken from his painting. So again, a lot of dramatic effect between dark and the light. There are just some textures which look a little bit industrial. And that is something that is still coming from there. We have these botanical elements and we have these mechanical elements, but this is more towards ornate and mysterious instead of industrial and mechanical. But the light and the shadow is there, so I can see that. Yeah, this is making it better. I'm showing you the truth. I'm not hiding anything from you now. And one of the very good examples, but I have to show you in parts, is this one. the collage I made with my husband. This is something between Giger, something between Klimt. Yeah, it's a good, yeah, this is a very good cross between Klimt and Giger, in fact. Just a moment. I will try to show you the whole one. Sorry. So this is Klimt cross with Giger result. So the top, we have all these mechanical elements, drips, all these things that are a little bit taken from Giger's background. A little bit disturbing. There's a skull as well. And then look at the body I created for him. This is much more like the Klimt block bodies with a lot of ornaments happening here. So they've got this textures which are kind of symmetrical as well. So they give you this repetitive pattern that is so typical for Klimt. On the other hand, we've got here the CDs, which are more from Giger's style as well. So that is like a cross between these two. Colors are more from Giger, however, the general style and the angel's wing and everything here is more with Klimt. So this is how, as you said, it is cross, but this is well brewed and quite well processed inspiration taken from at least 2 different artists, but in fact from 3. And the third one I'm going to show you now, and I'm wondering if you can guess because it's the most obvious one of them all. Because there's one artist I really think is like a clear source of my inspiration, but I'm not sure if you can, yeah, I think you should be able to guess who that is. And you can see that in this person as well. And let me show you the last one. And the last one on my list, but of course, last but not least. Yes, a book of my artwork so I can let it sink and marinate. Okay, I will try. The last but not least, the guy who made these, Alphonse Mucha. Completely different cup of tea again, but this is the artwork that is, I think, clearly visible in what I do. And let me show you what I was saying about inspiration for that project as well. These are one of his theater posters, and that is quite popular way for him to create in this format, very long. And that's why I told you that project was the mix of 3. And because it was colors and a bit of disturbing textures from Giger and textures from Mucha, sorry, textures from Klimt and ideas from Mucha. So that is kind of, yeah, there's another one example, the same kind of format. Mucha and of course Art Nouveau. And I think if I'm going to show you that, you're going to see right away what I mean. I will give you all the names so you can check the artwork. But his artwork was very detailed. They were always beautiful details. They were more graphics than paintings because it was mostly used as posters. But, whoops, sorry. The way he was showing the people, as usually the women, it was very close to my heart. And then that's how I started to create my own artworks as well. So, of course, in a way, this is what I was showing on the even on the poster when I was doing the advert. It is not, it's same, but different, okay? So we have kind of similar thing about the halos, right? The halos are the big thing for me. I think they look amazing. They give so much meaning to the process, of course, to the project. And in a way, the pictures of the women taken from the side, and then quite detailed crowns of different kinds, different kind of hairstyles, different kind of things happening in the background. That is translated. This is translated into many of the collage portraits I do. Of course, completely different medium, but it does the job pretty well. You can see this is the style that he is kind of into. Very beautiful work, by the way, very detailed. You can see there's always so much happening in his jewelry that he would make on these women. There are so beautiful details. I would totally wear it. If it was possible to buy something like that, I would wear it. And I would wear it with happiness. So this is where the inspiration came from. Yeah, molds. My molds are really inspired by Art Nouveau style, and he is one of the greatest examples of Art Nouveau. Look, this, of course, this is not a real halo, it's a window, apparently, but it creates such an impact here, and the person inside makes, looks so beautiful because of that. See, I promise I leave all the names later in the post so you can find them. However, about the creepy guy, Giger, handle with care because you may not like what you see, okay? I'm just giving you the information that it may be not your cup of tea. Look at these women here. Yeah. His art is amazing. And look, this is the photo of the model. So not much happening. And he was able to transfer that into artworks like that. Right? And here again, something that is a sculpture. So you can see there were also they were also made into sculptures, and this is golden and silver plated, 70 by 28 by 27 centimeter. So it's generally wonderful work of art. So, just to show you how it works, to see more of the Alphonse Mucha in my work, this is kind of a cross between Mucha and Giger and Klimt again. That is something that you can hopefully see in this project. This is very much Alphonse Mucha as well, again with elements of Giger, because there are some creepy elements, there are some light bulbs, but it's kind of a mix of disturbing mechanical and, on the other hand, something that is very feminine as well. So you can see how these things clashed in my brain and they produced this. So I hope this is giving you the idea on how important it is to have more than one master. And I can assure you there are some other artists I really love to look at as well. But this, how the things become more original. And again, a project And I can see, I hope you can see a bit of Giger background here as well. Absolutely not his colors though, but the frames, the pipes, the kind of mechanical background is there. Yeah, I add creepy to my works because I think if it's too sweet, I absolutely feel bored and I lose interest. Yeah, and I make it my own because, you know, I'm not him, right? And I'm not any of these people. I'm myself, and I still enjoy the playing with the ideas. So you had the examples. I have one more example to show you later. But this is going, yeah, I love the creepy side. But let's look through the things that may help you when you create this kind of ideas, when you create this kind of artwork. So, sip of tea, and let's look at the page 2 of the script. So, how to make it better? And this is what we were discussing already when I was starting the whole conversation with you. It is not about taking the artwork that you love and making the closest possible copy of it, because that is not making too much sense for many reasons. And oh, sorry, this sorry. For example, you've got this amazing love for paintings of Michelangelo, and you would love to do something in that style, but you're trying to paint exactly as he painted, and you're not going to be happy with the result because you are not him. You don't have his sensitivity, his skill, you don't have his experience, and on the top of that, it's just going to be repetitive, right? And the topic of the title of it is that still like an artist, and that means still it's take it but make it yours. So you take that resource, the resources, you take that concept, whatever was, you know, making your heart flutter looking at this painting or that artwork, and try to transform into your own language using your vocabulary and your grammar. You tell the same story, the same visual story, but you are not, you know, putting your claws and teeth into it to be as close as possible. You play with it, you reshape it, you put different clothes on it, you enjoy being with that project in your head, and you check what is going to fit, what kind of, which of your skills are going to be used to create something bringing the feeling of that project or showing the elements of that project, because you can use the image of that the artwork that you adore as a part of your artwork. It's going to be great tribute as well, but it's not going to be straight copy. And in the next sentence here, and I think this is the most important thing that we need to say. Hello, Nunu, good to see you. It is something I heard that many times, and I never felt it is right. Some people say that imitation is the most beautiful form of flattery. But imitation is not flattery at all. Imitation, it's just copy. Imitation is not flattery, but transformation is flattery. Transformation is taking this artwork or this element that makes you so happy and so inspired, and you take it to another level. You put it on another shelf. You can take music and put it on the shelf of the fine art this way. You can take somebody's painting and put it on the shelf with other kind of painting, or drawing, or sketch, or watercolor. Flattery. This is flattery. It's like when you want to show to somebody that you respect the work so much, and you think this is going to be pleasing to that person. Flattery. Yeah? For example, some people use that word in a connection with clothes. Now we're talking about English being a second language. The woman is trying a new dress, and some people would say, this style is not very flattering, which means you don't look too good in it. Or they say, oh, this is so flattering, which means that fits so good on you. This is right for you. So this is the word that means that is something, showing respect, showing the beauty and so on. So imitation is not a form of flattery. Transformation is. So transformation is the true creativity behind art. So this is what we were talking before. If you take, for example, somebody's beautiful artwork and you change completely the substrate you work on, you change that into, for example, one of my friends, she loved cross-stitching, and she was doing the cross-stitching of the huge Claude Monet painting. That was the water lilies, I think. That was flattery because she spent so much time recreating that very detailed, multicolored painting with just thread and needle. And of course, it was kind of imitation because it was the same painting. But then the work she put into it, the way she worked on it, the materials she used were completely different. So she changed the artwork into something completely new. So it is a little bit different, of course. And if you take somebody's artwork and you transform it through yourself and then you show the result to the world, it is going to be creativity. But if you do it as close as you can to what you see, this is getting desperately close to being a copy. And then copies are not taking us too far. They're great if you want to learn certain skill. And I absolutely understand that. You want to learn how to make this kind of light and shadow effect. And you don't feel too confident doing that on the other artwork. You would like to see how it works so you can practice. It's okay, but it is not going to be original work. This is going to be your exercise, and this is going to be like, I did it. And that would be a nice thing that you would mention that this is heavily inspired by this and this artist, and I wanted to learn how to do this and that. And many people, when they feel they're very inspired by somebody, they kind of naturally put that information under the artwork. Like, I was inspired by Gustav Klimt painting. I wanted to make something in that style so I can see how it works. And that is clear information, and I think nobody is going to say a word here. But the closer you are to the original, the more likely people will be asking, like, okay, is it really what you wanted to get? Yeah, this is not being free. As Elizabeth said, copying is good when you want to learn certain thing. But you have to remember this doesn't mean you made original artwork. So there are two things. Of course, some people will come to you and they will say, even if you make original artwork, you spend so much time thinking about it and you put so many things together, they're still going to come and say, I've seen it before. I've seen it before so many times, you didn't do anything new, go home. Yes, it happens all the time, and it happens in craft world. Some mean friends can say something like that. And it happens in fine art world. There will be some critics who would say things like that as well. But the reality is there will be always situations like that, and you have to make yourself prepared. It may happen. And no matter how hard you try, if somebody wants to hit a dog, they will find a stick. That is true. But it is so important that you control the process yourself, that you are true to yourself. If you know that you were working on it differently, not like looking one-to-one, not like trying your best to be the closest possible to original, when you really want that to go through you and come out as original project, then these comments should not touch you at all because they are not true. And that happens many times. People will throw accusations at each other, forgetting that accidents happen, and sometimes people come with a very similar concept by accident because they were inspired by the same idea. It happens, and it happens even more when you use repetitive materials. And in creative world, when we are in, there's a lot of repetitive materials. There is a lot of chipboard, mold, stamp, stencil, a lot of things that are possible to buy and available for everybody. And using them in a certain way may cause very similar results on different projects from different people. So throwing accusations at people right away because it looks similar to what I posted 2 days ago, it has to be really considered carefully. Because some of the things are so straightforward that it's not even possible to make them differently. And if you would like to avoid problems like that, a smart way is to change those repetitive materials or mix them with things which are not possible to repeat, things which are unique, just like I do with the found objects, for example. I mix them with repetitive objects, so I get to the point I want, but the whole look is unique. And this way, of course, you are avoiding the feeling that maybe your artwork is too similar to somebody else's. And the second thing is this brewing time, right? When you look at something, give yourself the time to process. Instead of sitting, doing that right away, like, oh my God, I love this project. I love this tag. I want to make something similar. Deep breath, think about it, look at what you have, try to change different details and go with the flow, and don't look again at what you were planning to do. Your brain is going to fill the empty gaps that your memory has with your own ideas, and those empty gaps are going to make the project more unique. I think that makes sense. On the other hand, I have some problems on the opposite side of the scale when I was supposed to follow the instruction and then I don't read it more than one time. Let me see. Yes, and the journey is more important than the final thing. Exactly. Similar painting palette may feel the same. Absolutely right. So, you have to be very gentle and very careful. Some people they have very short reaction time, so they react before they think, and they can create a lot of drama for no reason because really accidents like that happen. And they also happen in the product designing, because I've seen a lot of situations when people use the same kind of tools to make, for example, paper designs, and then they were like, oh, she copied my designs of the paper. She just used similar things, and by accident it looks very, very similar. But this is true. So if you want to avoid the copycat problem, you don't want to be in that situation, you can always look at your work and think, is it transformed enough? Like, can you see the clear differences? Like, can you do something else to make it different? Maybe just, take 2 steps away and think like, what else can I add? What can I do to make it different? Because, one thing is changing the substrate and tools and materials, but the other thing is if you use similar ones, there are still things you can do. You can change the coloring a little bit. You can change the format. You can change the details, add splatters, add extra stamping, use different final touches, and it's going to look different. And then you can always think, when you look at it, what you personally would like to add to it because you have your own favorite things. If you're inspired by somebody, perfect. But you may have the feeling like, that looks very cool and I like it. But I really feel tempted to add a little bit of the shadow behind. So do it. Or I really want to add a little bit of the highlight on the left side. Trust your instinct, do it. It's your artwork, you are not a copy maker, you are not going to sell another Mona Lisa, you are just doing your own artwork. And this means these little voices in your head, they are the elements of your natural style that want to go through and to be visible. So style is just element that you like to use, and if it's showing in different parts, in different kinds of your artwork, it means something that you can embrace and you just use. You can ask someone else who like you and you trust. Yes, if your project is too close to project that you inspired by, exactly, you can ask somebody who is close to you. It may be your partner, it may be somebody who's your close friend, and they can tell you, even if they're not great in art, they can, because they will say like, yeah, no, it's not too similar, or yeah, that looks too similar. Sometimes it's hard, said Nuneka, and we try to different projects and we end up so far of our own essence is just because we try not to do what others do. I know, but I think trying too hard, which is against your instinct, is not going to be a good thing. Just, if it's happy experimenting, it is okay. But if you're going like, I don't feel like doing it, like, and it happens far too often, I think this is not the right way. I tried to create a free mixed media project with limited materials during my occupational therapy. I really tried to find a way to transform my emotions into this project. And that is the way. Sometimes you just have to use what you have on hand. And I think people are sometimes thinking too much on if it's going to be too similar to somebody else's work or not. They're thinking so much that they are basically restricting themselves from making the artwork the way they like. This is what Nuneka said. You just don't try that hard. I think in general, one of the problems we have is we try too hard. And because we try too hard, some of the things are coming not exactly as we wanted. And I think more trust to your instinct and really following what we have in our heart is a good idea. Like your style, it's not one thing, right? You may use the same kind of elements that somebody else's, but it is in combination with some other things as well. So if part of your style is overlapping with somebody else's, it's okay. Yeah, Asha, but no. This is like, okay, this is your style, this is somebody else's style, but still we have this, which is different, right? Things may be the same, but here is other things we do. If you hard to try, you freeze and you just don't enjoy it anymore. So it is not possible you are able to create the same project as other person, because even repeating yourself is hard. So there's always going to be this wiggle space. And if somebody is creating drama, it means they're very insecure. And you just have to be true to yourself. If you did it on purpose, then you have a reason to be ashamed. That yes, you on purpose copied somebody to make it as similar as possible. If you know it is true, then feel ashamed. If you know this is not true, this opinion should not touch you at all. It does happen. I'm afraid someone will attack me because of did something similar by accident. And then what happens? You just say, I'm sorry. No, I just made it myself. Accidents like that happen. And believe me, over the years, I've seen so many projects and a lot of dramas like that. And in the end, all the people just move on and no prisoners taken. It's okay. It does happen, and it happens in fine arts, it happens in music, it happens in so many things people do, being creative, and just accept it may happen. It happens also when you're a product designer. You think you came with something completely cool, and then you find out that is not true. And then it's like, oh shit, again. Yeah. Yes. Uh, the more you feel free with the project, the more you just enjoy doing it, the more likely it's going to be an original one, because there is this personality showing through it. So the more you are afraid and tense and, you know, closed, the more likely something may happen, because you are trying so hard to avoid that you may go too far on the other side. So please don't stress so much. And really, if you're afraid, remember the number one point that we said. More, pick one, more than one master. Okay? Pick more than one master. The more masters you have, in a way, the more things you mix together, the harder it is going to be to say to people who you are stealing from. This is how it works. You steal, but you do it as an artist. So you steal just the right elements for you. And because they are so nicely mixed with each other, it's so hard to say. So pick more than one master. This is really important. And you think, if you think about the project I was trying to show you, this mix of Klimt and Giger and Mucha, why not? That is something that we absolutely do. Like, if you pick a lot of masters, they won't be able to tell. Even if you do it subconsciously, because honestly, we're talking here about stealing. We use the word stealing, but the truth is we do it subconsciously. Most of that happens in the back part of our brain. We pick inspiration consciously, so we pick images that we really like, but then the whole processing is happening without our thinking, really. It just mixes, and then it comes out. So that's why I told you that it's good to pick from different shelves, so your mix is going to be more unique. If you keep feeding yourself with the same cereal every morning, you're not going to develop a lot of new tastes for different food, right? But if you're trying different kind of things from different cuisine, and you try fruit, and you try vegetables, and you try meat, and you try cheese, then you learn a lot of things, and then you can make the most amazing salad ever. Also, Master have done that, or they used LSD when they created dark art. Oh, if only that was only LSD. There were so many other things involved. There is again a story of Polish artist who made notes on the canvases he painted, what kind of things he had in his body when he was painting this person. Very interesting combination sometimes. Some of them possibly deadly as well, if you're not used to that. What about your ambassadors that post tutorial on YouTube? They must expect that some will learn and may copy their work. No. Yes. If you are a creator that is kind of a person that is supposed to inspire others, you expect they are going to come and copy you in some way. And the thing that you can do is encouraging to copy in a creative way instead of straight copy. On the other hand, for example, a lot of people who are teaching classes in their own shops and so on, they look for the ready-to-go tutorials. And here we are going a little bit off the way of artistic work to a little bit more to advertising, product promotion and what you can do to show, to sell the product. Because if you are ambassador for some kind of brand, you're supposed to do some advertising work as well. So the projects which are possible to inspire others to make something similar. So you are not just like an artist, you also have this kind of responsibility as well. And this means you have to expect some of your work is going to be copied, but honestly, it's very hard to copy somebody very strictly. So it is again, this factor of personality shines through. And if you decide to be a design team member or ambassador of some kind of brand, you have to be mentally prepared. Some of your projects will get copied by somebody, because this is how it works in this world, because they are considered to be inspiration to sell. So this is how it works. Because I can tell you, Oriana, you can't copy because you have too much personality yourself. This is how it works. Yeah, exactly. If you, as Elizabeth said, as long as you tell it is a copy of someone else's work and you did it with that intention, you should mention that. There is no shame in saying that you were inspired by somebody. I think it is absolutely fair thing to do. Like, if I make a project which is heavily inspired by somebody's artwork, for example, the one I was showing with the bird school, Industrial Bird, it was heavily inspired by Giger's work, so I mentioned his name in that in the description, so people know that there is something more behind. Yeah, sometimes you have to learn, and this is how it works. Yeah, and that is fair because you give the credit to the person who gave you the idea. But if you know that you are not trying to copy, there's no reason for you to write it down, really, honestly. Here we come to the moment of honesty with yourself. And I told you about being the tasteful thief, right? Tasteful thief, that is David Bowie's expression. I love that. Also, David Bowie said that he wasn't really original artist. He was a tasteful thief. So he was stealing the things that he really considered to be precious. And this is what we do. And the things you can do here is to pick your tools carefully, which means learn from the best. Be like David Bowie, learn from the best. Pick ideas from the people that you really see you admire. Not like, yeah, it is okay. No. Try to really look for the artworks or the projects that you really feel are great and look at them and absorb them or listen to them, and then come to the moment when you think, yeah, it's somehow planted in my head and I'm ready to make something based on that idea. And I just give you an example, again from my own life from years ago. I really enjoy mixed media art, of course, and I love a lot of different styles. And there are some projects that just stop me for a moment. I look at, wow, right? Wow. And there was a book cover. It was a graphic novel by Neil Gaiman, one of the covers for Sandman. And I looked at that cover, and I analyzed everything, and that was years ago, when very beginning of my mixed media way. And I loved everything about that cover. And it was a mixed media dimensional collage mixed with computer design, I think. And I loved it. It was rusty and teal and gold with the dark, Dave McKean, exactly. With the dark outsides. And I had a copy of it and I put it on my board and I looked at it for 3 years. I looked at it for 3 years because one, use the copy machine, I know. That is very cool. I looked at it for 3 years because I told myself one day I want to be able to do something with the same feeling as I can see here. I love the strong colors he used, the imaginary he created. I love the patches of gold which were visible there. The color palette was absolutely mind blowing. And I looked at it for 3 years. And after 3 years, I said to myself, yeah, I'm ready. And I will just do it. And I did it. And I did a journal page inspired by that color palette with this concept. And I did it with a huge pleasure. And it was different, of course. But it had all these elements that were drawing me to that, the artwork he made. So everything that I really wanted to take out and use myself, I did it, and I did it in a way that I was happy with it. And that was a long process, and I had to get the confidence myself I will be able to do it and I will be happy with the result. But it was already 3 years looking at the one project. And I did it. And it was something very liberating, and it made me happy. So pick your masters wisely, but don't be afraid to really try and do it as well, because you are not going to make something this similar to what he or she did. It's going to be your own interpretation of it. What was the question here? I'm so new to 3D art. I'm learning so much and finding my own style. That means a lot. Thank you. People that copy all the time and do paths of their own, they never learn how to create for themselves. True. Lori is right. If you only copy, you don't listen to your own self. So you don't really know what your voice is. You are not able to recognize your own voice if you only copy. And I remember that during one of your life, you used to colors blue and red, and you told us that it was inspired by another Anya. Yeah, that may happen. Yes. It's also interesting that 6 people in the same class do their own versions. Hard to copy, they look different. Yes, because we are like natural filter. We pick different elements because that's just how we are. Some people are more sensitive to shapes, some people are more sensitive to the textures, some people will be more sensitive to colors, and this is what they are going to show in their artwork. Exactly. When you are inspired by something, you add a piece of you to that, and that is what you see. And there's always going to be a situation when somebody will come and poke you and say, oh, this is too similar. Not possible, really, that there will be 100% right. I copy only during classes when I focus on techniques and what the teacher wants to teach. Yes, but even in the classroom, I will be able to see the differences. Like, you can't make a direct copy. Not possible. The second good advice when it comes to getting the inspiration is to use filters. And I think we need to make maybe one more meeting on the filters and how to filter and how to look for different, how to focus a little bit more on what you want to do, because now we are completely overflown with inspiration, and people often get stuck on the gathering process and they forget to move to creating process. And here I mean, they have so much of the visual inspiration that they get overfed, they get overstimulated, and they get paralyzed because of that. It is the curse of our times when we have internet and we can see the content of all possible art galleries in the world, and we can see the content of all the artwork that people create. And this is good, and this is very bad at the same time. So in the past, you were only getting a little bit of the real stimulation in your life, and you had much more time to process it, and you had much more time to create that peace in your mind before you started creating. Now we have to do it consciously. We have to shut ourselves off as well. And that's why when I'm saying avoid overstimulation, close Pinterest, start working. Because Pinterest is not going to make the work for you. You are going just to keep pinning and pinning and pinning, and then when you look through your board, you realize you're just repeating the same kind of thing. After some time, it's going to be repetitive, the same kind of thing. How many versions of the same concept you need to see? Okay, let's say I'm on the stage when I have to think about the bathroom. How many Victorian-inspired bathrooms you need to see to know what kind of stuff do you need? 15? 20 maximum? And then it's going to be the same thing. Bathtub, shower, toilet, shelves, tiles, floor, color. Yeah, you're even better. You're 2. I would say 15 because I want to see different kind of bathtubs, okay? And so there is, you have to limit yourself. If you look for the inspiration, okay, pin some nice things, but limit your time on this Pinterest. Limit that to half an hour maybe and go. Don't do it because it's almost like compulsive pinning. And then you look through that and you think, oh my God, no, it's too much. I don't know what to do. But when you analyze, they are all the same versions of the same thing. And after some time, yeah, I think there's fine line as well between learning technique from someone and copying someone's work. Exactly. It's different when you are learning and you do it on purpose and you focus on the details and you do it on purpose, and when you present this artwork as your own work. Yeah, this is exactly how it is. So the same with pinning your art. You have to limit your time and make your inspiration board limited. Limited. Because otherwise you're going to get overwhelmed. The same with Instagram. We see so many versions of the same thing. I can't believe how many pairs of yoga pants I've seen in my life since I tried to buy a pair of yoga pants by accident. I have no clue how many brands I've seen already. Do they really look so different? Nope. Yeah, but you pin the same thing over and over. So this is also about algorithm in the internet. Once you start, it's going to show you the same things more and more. So the same happens with Pinterest. They're going to show you similar things again and again. You have to break that cycle. You have to look for different sources. Try to go from completely different angles, right? That is something you have to break the algorithm. It is not possible to find new work other way. Exactly. Watching is not going to make the artwork for you. You have to start creating. And the last very important advice here is use ingredients instead of recipes. Yeah, you could close your Finnabair album then, yes. So think about it. If you have ingredients, so the elements taken from different artworks, let's call them this way. Yeah, you picked your masters, you know there are some things you like, you pick those little things that you really like, and you use them together It's like the salad I was mentioning. You make your own salad. You make your own thing based on the ideas you love. But you are not using somebody else's recipe. You make the recipe yourself. So if you take color palette from, let's say, Claude Monet, and you take the textures from Klimt, you take the way of organizing the space from Picasso, you get very interesting mix that nobody else did before. And that is something that is going to help you create unique content, right? Anita says, I love watching artists create with music in the background. Sometimes I don't feel need to create after I watch them, so I have turned off the iPad. I wonder what I get when I search on Igor Asentowski on my algorithm. Don't blame me, please, please. So this is how you can think about that process. Why don't we once do a Zoom workshop like once we used to have face-to-face to you? Maybe small paid groups for Zoom workshops. I would have to look into that because I'm terrible at hosting Zooms. Because I use my phone for streaming and I tried to be host once because Prima asked me and I can't. I have to figure that out how to do it first, and I would have to make like this, research first. But I keep it in my mind, Mia. And the most important thing, like the bottom line, is on the bottom. Discover by doing, don't wait for it. And this is the Pinterest topic, which means don't wait for the moment you feel ready, because you will never feel ready. Start doing now and discover what you are doing on the way, which means the best results you're going to get just by creating and discovering what makes you happy on the way. If you start with this idea that you got from one of your inspirations, for example, and you start playing with that, reshaping that, changing the clothes, changing the structure, you will be on the right path to discover to what makes you happy. The brewing process is going to go all the way in your brain, and this is how you're going to develop your unique look and the personal elements of style that are going to shine through the project. It's not like you're going to sit and, yeah, I want to create project with the house, and in the house there will be windows, and in the windows there will be faces, and under the faces there will be some darkness and some light spots for mystery, and you are like trying to imagine or paint in your brain the ready project. And I was telling you that before when we were talking about sketches. Just make a rough sketch of what you are doing and get into that, put your hands into that. And this is the moment when you just create. Like Asha said, I'm ready when I have free time and I steal these moments to create. Yeah, but this is how it is. Sometimes we just have this moment and we can do part of the project and then come back to it. Or we can do the same, the whole one, but we have to be working. The creativity is about working with your hands and your brain at the same time, not just your brain. Because like, okay, and then I will make this, these textures here, but oh, I don't have these textures. I have to go shopping. Really? You can make them any other way, or maybe when you will start to make those windows and those things you're going to find 300 different options of making cool textures, and you don't need to do shopping. So it's really more important to really get into that and start creating, because it's very unusual that you are going to find an obstacle you can't go past without some extra things happening, right? So it's just, don't think you need special moment, special mood. You need like the right, constellation of the stars to be above you, the right phase of the moon. No. Shopping is okay, of course, because we all need elements from time to time, but shopping is one thing and creating is the second. There are two different hobbies. Okay? Uh, yeah, it doesn't matter what product is it, it doesn't matter what, it works perfect. Find something similar. Especially in collage, in mixed media, there are so many options. And you don't use all of the elements you have. It's just not possible. Yeah, shopping is hobby itself. I know. And the next important thing is you really discover your style by making. So trust me, it does happen. The more you make, the more you can see similarities in your projects. And this, these elements of the grammar that you have in yourself, like you have your own language. And sometimes if you don't see it, ask somebody else. You focus on creating. Don't focus on developing your style. Don't focus on finding your perfect materials. No, you focus on creating, and then you can look back at what you have done, and then you start to pick and see the elements that may be your style, and then they usually are the things that makes you the more happy, the more natural, the more the more fun, the most happy to see on your project, the most natural to happen. Because the style is a natural thing. It's not something you make on purpose. It just happens without your thinking. If you don't have a mold with skulls, you can find the real one. Wait, yeah. But in the worst case, you can take some clay and make something similar. Or you can take a doll, cut off the head. So you can ask somebody else as well. And don't compare with the masters. Because your masters, they are people with different personality, different perspective, different skills. And they have different experiences, so they wouldn't be able to create what you do. So this is not a problem to accept that you are not able to create exactly what they do. We are all different. We are not able to copy each other straight because there are only few people who are really very little, copy artists who copy the fine art paintings, and they're training for years to do it right as well. And this is a very different skill, and you use different set of creative tools to do that as well. Yes, art journaling is well, you only have one person to please your work. Yeah, you, exactly. You do it for yourself. And on the last page, you have your homework and you have inspirational quote from Picasso: "Good artists copy, great artists steal." So I really want you to feel encouraged to steal. And remember, you only steal the things which are very dear to you. So you pick your so things that you want to steal carefully. You really pick the victims carefully as well. So you pick the masters you want to steal from carefully, because it has to be something valuable. You don't steal the rubbish, you steal gems, you steal beautiful things that are important to you. And good artists copy, yes, because they have the skill and they do it without deeper purpose. When great artists, they really admire these ideas, these techniques, these artists, And that's why they steal. They do it out of love for what was created. And if there is this love inside of you for what you see, this is worth stealing. This is something that you want to really take and use to transform yourself and to transform into something which is going to speak your language. Okay? So, homework. But before the homework, I want to show you something. There are two options of homework. One is with Pinterest and the other one is going to be in the Facebook group. I want to show you something. Sometimes, if you really want to steal, you can steal from yourself. And this is another version of stealing, especially when you feel that you have a really good idea, but you didn't use it you didn't use it up yet. Like, this was great concept, but there's something is missing. So you can get inspired by your own artwork, but you want to make it better. You want to make it more beautiful. You make it a little bit different. So, my example. I made this this week, and this is a video for you as well, so it's going to come later this month. I made a collage. So, first of all, I was inspired by this cover. I really loved some elements about it. It's a small journal. I loved the techniques, which are not too complicated, but very pretty to look at. I love the patina look with the copper. I love the textures, the paper. Yeah, but it was supposed to be small, not complicated project. Something which is, quick to do and so on. I felt this set of colors, kind of needs a little bit more of the work. Like, I think it deserves something better than just a book cover. And that is going to be, a little bit bigger, maybe more elaborate. So this week, I made this. And that would be the example of how you can take something and to make it, in your opinion, better. Okay, so I stole like an artist from myself. Sometimes you can steal from yourself, right? They are so different. However, this is the same set of techniques. I even use the same stencil. The same products, mostly. And from here, I went to here to make more elaborate artwork. I use a little bit more of the techniques, of course. But this is an example of direct stealing. Can you see? But this is the stealing with really came from my love for copper and teal. And I really wanted to make something more elaborate with that. An upgrade, exactly. And now you want to steal this piece. So you can see it's not like it has to be somebody else. You can even upgrade your own artwork. And by upgrade, we mean you do it according to your taste, because your upgrade may not be upgrade for somebody else. Like, they will say, you ruined it. Like, why did you put it here? Like, it was so nice and clean, and now you have all that shit everywhere. Like, do you always have to put so much? Who needs that? Can you just do clean and simple once? It will be so elegant. Maybe, but who wants to have that on the shelf? Not me. Right? This is, and Ilona said, you can see the halo from Mucha. And you can see the elements, the creepiness from Giger, shadows on the eyes, and you can, it's a mixture. And I intentionally made this project this week when I was preparing for the stream. So I wanted to show you how things go. It is possible. This is your project and you upgrade it according to you, right? So if you take something from the master, you upgrade it according to you. And you can't, okay, except the situations when you are working for somebody's project that was commissioned to you, you don't really have to listen to anyone. This is you and you do it for yourself. If somebody doesn't like it, shame, they're not going to get it. That's it. But in general, you make it the way you feel it is right. And you can go from very simple idea to very elaborate final if you are going to go with the flow and you just continue. So now the homework. But I also have question. First homework is start your inspirational folder on Pinterest board or folder on the computer as well. But be a very tasteful thief. Okay? Which means no overpinning the same thing over and over. Let's say 10, 20 images maximum. So it has to be a new folder, empty. And then after a few days of looking at this, what you have, create a project. You can be you can be inspired by one or by many. Make this experiment by yourself and you can share the results with us, of course, if it's possible. But try to, in a way, I would like you to create this feeling I had looking for 3 years and at one painting by Dave McKean until I felt I was ready to do it. Try, absorb it like a sponge. And then close it, don't look again, and make the project. This is the exercise you can do anytime, but I would love to see the results, of course. And now, group homework with prizes. So the challenge, we have 1 month. So I was thinking in the Facebook group, I will post some artworks, let's say 3 different ones, and you are going to pick one of them or more than one and make a project based on that. So it is kind of a game we were doing years ago on Polish scrapbooking message boards, but we were doing that in a chain. So there was first project and the next person was making the project inspired by the first one, third one on the second one, fourth one on the third one. So we were making like a Chinese whispers, but making artworks. So here it will be too complicated to wait for everybody to make the artwork to start. So we're going to do like just one to another, right? So one artwork and your interpretation, another artwork and your interpretation. Can you show this project with Dollhead again? I'd like to make print screen added to my folder. I can send you the good copy of it because I have photo of it, good one. So I will send you that in a message. Just message me, okay? And it's going to be much better. And I just have to ask you, do you want me to post some artworks of some fine artists, or you want me to find some of your artworks, maybe you post it in the group to use them as inspiration? Because I was worried with the fine artworks, it may be a little bit too complicated to imagine what to do with them. Or you want some of my older projects that you may not know as an example. So I would love to know what would be the best, because I was thinking about fine art in the beginning, but then For some of you, it may feel hard to crypt from one to another. Okay. Artist yours and someone else's, one of each. Sneaky people. Okay, some of the older of your other projects would be great. Okay. Let's do this. I will do one of my older projects, some kind of artwork. I promise it's not going to be too creepy. Then one from the projects in the group. And then we will see. Okay? And then you have 1 month to make your own version of it according to your personal taste, preferences, whatever you feel like. Why not creepy? Mix of yours and ours. Okay. I would say 3-4 projects maximum, okay? And then one too creepy. Okay. And one project will be creepy. Okay. Okay. I will try to find somebody who is not going to be... I have an idea. Oh, one of the Dixit cards. I have an idea. I love creepy and post-apocalyptic. Okay. We have to choose just one of them for inspiration. Yes. You can use just one, or if you feel brave, you can mix 2 or 3 of them. However you feel. In general, we are going to make very short selection, so you are not going to have too many to think about. You make one project, minimum. If you feel that you have a lot of energy and you want to make more, you can make more. And every entry is going to count for the surprise giveaway. Okay? You want a creepy and cute. Okay. So I will have to go through the projects and find something that is going to be cool and it's going to work really well. And as I promised, in the end of the month, this is coming as a video for you. So you're going to see the making of this wooden panel. It's not pretty on the back, but I will paint it black later. So that is also something included for everybody on €10 or more tier. Okay. Have you got any questions maybe? And is there anything else I can help you with? Was that entertaining? Was it clear? Okay. I really like that kind of games when we have to create your interpretation of the work. Yeah, better class than ever. Ha! I tried. But really, the topic is great, I think. Did I understand right? At Pinterest, we should just look after artist projects. I think I have to hear it again. You have it also in the instruction here on the PDF file. So the PDF file link is in the latest post on Patreon, but the inspiration on Pinterest is for you. It's exercise for you. So you just pick limited number of your masters, favorite projects, 10 to 20, and let it sink and see how this is going to work for you. And then you can create a project and show to us. This is like more exercise for yourself. In Facebook group, we make it open, so you can see the projects for every, limited, like 3-4 maximum, and then you pick these for interpretation. 1, or you can mix 2 or 3, but this is going to be like open challenge. We don't use any other inspiration, just what is in the Facebook group. Okay? And there will be prizes for participation. Because it's hard to compare the artwork, of course. I think I will post the artwork Monday the latest, because now I'm not sure if I will have enough time to find ones, but Sunday or Monday they will be waiting for you in the Facebook group. Just for those people who are not on Facebook, this is Finnabair Art Collective closed group only for patrons. Your favorite chat class? Yes! Yoo-hoo! It was good topic. And really, I will also send you the link to this Still Like an Artist TEDx talk. It's really inspiring and it's really very cool. And you can find a lot of information on the book as well. And you can read the book. I think, it is not really, it doesn't matter. It is about writing, because he was a writer, of course. Creativity is creativity, and everything kind of translates to other kind of creativity as well. Yay! Thank you. Yeah, it is an interesting topic, and I think it's very important because there's a lot of guilt and a lot of shame in the creative world when people feel like they are copycats while they are just really trying to transform art using their own creative language. There's a lot of intentional copy, and people see it, and you can see it as intentional copy, and people don't give a credit in that case. So there's a lot of tenseness sometimes and a lot of drama, and really keeping yourself away from drama is the best. You have to be honest with yourself. Was it a copy or was it a transformation? Yes, a lot of unreasonable about energy, and it happens all the time, and it was happening for ages. They were artists that hated each other because they believed they were competing, and they were copying each other, and some people are just like that. Yeah, you have to start to understand who you are in artistic way. You have to you have to recognize what do you like. You have to consciously learn what is your happy place, what do you love, what maybe makes you interested and excited, because this way you know which path you should follow. If you don't know, you are missing a lot of important information. And by finding the masters and stealing the things which are the most precious, you just learn as well. I'm a collector. Me too. As you can see, I collect things. If you can write what parts inspired us to create some kind of the project, yes, because it's going to be very interesting to read for people. They're going to have the comment from the person who created. So if you feel like you can do it, that you can explain what was the inspiration behind this and that, that is very valuable insight, and I would love to read it. Thank you so much. I'm very happy you enjoyed. Now I put the books on the shelf and I put artworks on the wall, and I will have something to drink because my throat is dry. But I enjoyed it a lot. I can see that I was thinking this topic is important, but I can see even more than I expected. Thank you so much. Love you all. Thank you. And go and steal stuff like an artist. Be a tasteful thief.